Hello, Dutch football fans all over the world. It's Football-Oranje. We're back for a preview of Hungary against the Netherlands in the Nations League. We're back for another international break, the second already of this calendar season. I'm Mike Statham. Mike's here. Abdul's here. The three of us back together, I think, for the first time since August when we met in person. So it's good to have us all back together. I think people have been missing you, Mike, on the recent shows. So it's good to have you. Of course, there is an Eredivisie podcast people can go and check out. We did it about a week ago. But anyway, how are we doing? Are we pleased international breaks come around?
Yeah, always pleased when we get a chance to watch everyone's play. So, yeah, we're not those that hate the international breaks. We all, we love club football as well. We love the Eredivisie. But yeah, there's something special about watching everyone's play, and every single time it comes around, I can't wait to the play. So every single time an international break ends, I'm always looking forward to the next one. So luckily we've got this one, and then we've got a quick one in November as well. So yeah, we've got a lot of everyone's matches to come in the next few weeks, and then that'll be it until it's February, March time. So yeah, we've got to enjoy these games because the last ones of the year.
Yeah, Oranje comes first, in my opinion. So I always wait for international breaks. I'm happy now that we have two matches to see Oranje playing again, especially with some changes coming up with all the new selections Koeman is making. So we're really excited for that.
Yeah, really excited to talk about the squad selection, the game itself, and more. But I think we have to start with touching upon Johan Neeskens, who sadly passed away this week. Just some thoughts from the pair of you on a real Dutch hero.
Yeah, I was devastated yesterday when I heard the news, really. He's given so much for Dutch football. He was a well-known star in the 70s. Probably people did not really live that era. Many young people now did not really witness that era, but we all know how great he was, not only as a football player, he also was in the staff in 1998 World Cup, as I remember. So he has given so much for Dutch football, and I really wish his family the best, and I really hope he rests in peace.
Yeah, I think that my dad grew up watching the Netherlands in the 70s, and he always used to say how great a player the Neeskens was. And I've watched all the old footage of the games in the 74 and 78, and he was one of the standout players. He looked like probably one of the best midfielders ever played the game. He's the one that scored the penalty in the final. I think a lot of people forget that. He was probably up there with probably the most important player in the 1974 World Cup. I know that Cruyff gets all the headlines, and rightly so, as being the most influential Dutch player ever all time. But the Neeskens was so important to that side, and he was even more important when Cruyff wasn't there in 78, and they still got to the final, and Neeskens was one of the best players again. So, yeah, you don't win that many European Cups by the time you get to 22, and he was very young when he scored in the final as well. So, yeah, he was a magnificent player, went on to be loved at Barcelona as well, before he then going to America, coming back to the Netherlands, and then going to Switzerland as well. I think that every single person that you hear talks about him well. He's a loved character on and off the pitch. Ronald Koeman had really nice things to say about him yesterday, saying he was his idol growing up. So, yeah, it's a big loss for Dutch football. But yeah, rest in peace, 73. And we wish Johnny Rep as well. Hope his surgery goes well, because he's in hospital as well. So, yeah, it's a big blow for Dutch football, and rightly so. There'll be a minute's silence for the game against Hungary, as we all remember such a great of Dutch football.
Yeah. Brilliant words from the two of you there. Yeah, let's make it a memorable one. The game itself isn't the biggest fixture ever, but of course the Netherlands will need to win. I'm sure they'll have former player in their minds as they play, and it will be something that they can play towards, playing for the player, the family, and for Dutch football in general. I'm going to share the squad then that's been selected by Ronald Koeman, and we haven't discussed it yet altogether. What are we thinking then here? We've got some players missing, so got a helpful little list here of some players that are out. We know I haven't got Tim Koopmeiners, I haven't got Frenkie de Jong, Joe Veerman, Jody Schouten, all midfielders there. So there's no player of that de Jong, Schouten in the selection now. You've got Jurien Timber out as well, Nathan Ake and Jan-Paul van Hecke, three defenders. As well as that, we've got strikers here that need to be scoring more goals. So with all of that in mind, what we're thinking about this selection. And by the way, if you're listening on the audio-only version of the podcast, go over to YouTube and check out, and you'll see the squad on screen right now.
Well, it's a very reasonable squad in my opinion. I think most fans are happy. All the players that we were asking, Koeman to just leave behind, he's finally convinced, and he left them behind. He picked some younger players. We always wanted that. Considering the injuries we have, I think this is the best squad we can come up with. Some people might argue Somerville, but he hasn't been playing as a starter with his team. He comes only like in the second half, or he doesn't play much. So I think the players we have now are probably the best we have, and we can still make a very good squad out of this. We can make a very good lineup out of this squad against Hungary and Germany.
Yeah, I think that squad depth is what the Netherlands needs, and they do have a lot of players out, especially in midfield. But you look at that squad, and you can still pick a midfield of Quinten Timber, Gravenberch, and Reinders, which is still a great midfield. And then you've still got Mads Wiefer on the bench. But there's a couple of names in there that you're kind of scraping the barrel a bit. Guus Till coming in for Koopmeiners. I think that's a bit of a strange one, given that Till, a lot of PSV fans have been asking for him to be dropped in recent weeks because he's not been playing very well, and then he gets called up to the Netherlands squad. But you can say it's at least he's not turned back to Martin de Roon, or he's not gone back to Davy Klaassen, who started scoring goals for Ajax. So he's not turned back to the old guard yet, but there is players that I prefer to see than Till. I think the players for the future, like Malambo, deserve to be in there. Guus Till, he's 26. He's not going to make it to the World Cup if everyone's fit. So I don't really see the point in bringing him up, and instead of giving someone that actually has a future in the national team a chance, like Malambo, or even Sam Stein, who I think we can all agree has been excellent for FC Twente this season and last season as well. Why not give somebody like that a go and reward them for the form that they're showing at a club that's doing well? So, yeah, I think that's the only one that I would maybe say was a mistake. But other than that, you see the names there and you think that it should be good enough to beat Hungary, and Germany have a number of players out as well, so it's going to be a tight game against them. The only worry for me is up front. Xerxes hit and miss for Man United, and recently it's been a lot more of a miss. And Brian Brobby seems to have gone back to his wasteful days of a couple of seasons ago, and he's getting criticism again for his finishing. So, which one of those is going to cement their place as a Netherlands striker? Wait to see if their form picks up. But yeah, other than that, defence-wise, first string midfield, I'm happy with. You're going to have Gakpo on the left, Simmons on the right. Just depends on whether we can score goals with the striker he picks. Yeah,
and both the Brobby and Xerxes had good performances in the last international break. It doesn't concern me greatly, but yes, at club level, it hasn't been good, has it? I've seen Xerxes play a couple of times, and really hasn't offered much at all. And I'm beginning to wonder whether this is another Manchester United problem, that he isn't fitting into the way that they're playing. Maybe it's tactically not good enough to get the best out of him. Because when I've seen Xerxes play well, he's done really well with, and his combination strikers means a lot to describe him, but he is that and does link up with players really well. Brobby, a physical strength, of course you do, a bit of pace, decent in the air as well. But yeah, finishing. So far this season, I've watched about half of Ajax's games, and that has been the thing. Finishing those big chances. If he scores those, he's on the same kind of form as he was last season when he was putting him in left, right, and centre. I want to talk about the attacking midfield position as well, if I could just offer my view on this. Guus Till coming in, I think he's been all right this season, but I agree with all the things that you're saying, Mike, that he doesn't have that potential. 26, isn't it better to give it to someone who's younger? The Sem Stein argument, though, I'm going to go a bit different to the crowd here. He scores goals, Sem Stein, but I don't think he does a lot else. He doesn't, for me, when Twente have been in Europe, they could have been a bit better. And I think if someone's given a bit more in that 10 position to drop into midfield, follow the runners, offer a bit more with creating more opportunities, for me, then he gets selected. But he's the top goal scorer in the Eredivisie right now, 7 goals. So, yeah, without doubt, he scores great goals. Would he have been a striker maybe if he was tall enough? Is that why he's playing in midfield? I don't know. Yeah, I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts on Stein. I think he's a good player. I look forward to seeing where his career goes. But with what the Netherlands offer, I don't know. I know Koeman did give a nod to that anyway. He has got a nose for goal. But I think he's chosen Till because Till can play as an 8, as a 10, as a striker. So when you're playing for the Netherlands, you need all those things all at once, don't you, for quite an intense game. As for Malambo, yeah, he's the answer really, isn't he? Like long term, you'd want to see him in the squad. And that is for sure. I think he's quality. Whether he's ready yet for the Netherlands, I think it's just a bit early, isn't it? But long term, he's the one. So that's why it's been a difficult decision for Koeman. And I agree with all the things you're saying, Mike. But ultimately, he's gone for Till. I think maybe it's just a bit of a nod to him to say, well done, a bit of a pat on the back. But I don't know what it does in terms of the World Cup.
Well, I don't think Till is going to start this match, or even I don't even think he will come in as a sub. We have Weaver, if he plays with Gravenberg, Reinders, and maybe he will put Simmons back as an attacking midfielder like how it was in the Euros. This is also a possibility that we should not really forget. Or Quinton Timber if he wants 3 straight midfielders. So I don't think there is a chance for Hostil to play this match. I think that we can still make a very good midfield out of this. I know we will be painfully missing Frankie and Koop Miners, but still we can still come up with a decent midfield. It's gonna also make us think how it's gonna be in the front line. Brobbey, he did not really score, and we all see that he has a problem scoring even with Ajax, as you mentioned, Michael. But I think his role is more important than scoring, and we saw how much trouble he gave Germany, in the match, in the previous match where it ended 2-2. I think this is what he is good for in the first place, before even scoring. He gives the chance for his colleagues to score and creates chances for his colleagues. So that's why I really would love to see Brobbey starting both matches against Hungary and Germany. I
agree. Brobbey starting both those games. I think it'd be one of each again. Don't you guys think that as well? That Koeman probably choose one for each game, but Brobbey is what I think we should do against Hungary. I think that raw physical abilities is plenty to cause a lot of defenders trouble when Hungary are going to sit deep, most likely. What are your thoughts on the striker position then? We've got here two players choosing that are a bit out of form. We haven't got Weghorst here this time. Am I correct saying that he's not top fit yet? I mean, he's only playing bits for Ajax because of that?
Yeah, he came on as a late substitute at the weekend for Ajax.
Yeah.
And then he scored an assist. Yeah, so he scored and then he gave an assist as well, so he did well. But I think he had a call with Koeman and said that he didn't feel 100% yet, so he's not in the squad. You always got the option of, you've got Gakpo there as well. I think that if you're going to play Brobbey, he's going to create chances. You're going to hope that it's for Gakpo. I think he's the main source of goals that we have, especially in the midfield. If Simmons doesn't play there, if he plays out in right wing, it does rely on a lot on Gakpo probably scoring the goals or Reinders picking them up from midfield. That's my worry for me is if Brobbey doesn't finish, he's trying to create chances for his teammates. Simmons isn't a real goal scorer, and it kind of relies on Gakpo and Reinders being the ones that are going to create the chances, score the goals, and then. Is that going to be enough against a side like Germany? You hope so, if it's going to be like a 1-0. But going forward into the World Cup, we need to find more goals up front.
Well, guys, I'm going to take these players off the screen so we can see each other a little better again. And it'll be good to talk about the defence. It isn't obvious who's going to start in that back four. So could we see a Van de Ven, Van Dijk partnership in the middle of defence? Is that likely, or do you think because Ake's out, Van de Ven's going to be put in a left back?
Well, Koeman said he would like to see Van Dijk and Van de Ven, as the central defenders. Van de Ven also mentioned that he prefers playing as a central defender. But if this is the case, if Koeman is going to play with Van de Ven and Van Dijk, then the left back will be either Maatsen or Hatu, which I don't think Maatsen is going to play because I think he was in the substitution line for some matches. But Hatu is completely ready, although he's 18, but he's been performing amazingly with Ajax. Even the last season, I think he was the best player in Ajax. So this could be the option for the left back if we have Van de Ven and Virgil. But Koeman might also start with the De Vrij and Virgil and let Van de Ven play as a left back. In that case, there will be no risk, because Van de Ven is good as a left back, and De Vrij, Virgil, we saw them playing together in the Euros. The team was doing very well with them in the back.
Yeah, I think that from the start against Hungary, we'll see it being De Vrij and Van Dijk, and then he might make a substitution in the second half and bring on Hato and move Van de Ven in the middle, and that's when he'll try it out. It'll be like a second half substitution for the last half an hour. I can't see him starting with Van de Ven and Van Dijk straight away. It'll be 20, 30 minutes end of a game that he'll do it, and then he'll see what it looks like, and then he might do it for a full game going forward. But these two games will be De Vrij and Van Dijk. It worked at the Euros. Why change it?
Yeah, makes absolute sense. I actually quite like Van de Ven as a left back. I think he gets forward quite well in that instance. Just don't put it back at left wing back. I still keep saying that. Just don't do that again. But left back, yeah. With Maatsen, don't think he'll start either of the games. If he can come on as a sub for 10 minutes, that's kind of what he's doing for Villa. He's not really playing very much. And when he does, he's used as an attacking left back or as a left midfielder, actually, because of his attacking abilities, his pace. He hasn't done badly yet for Villa so far, having seen all of Villa's games, but I do think there's a long way to go in his season. I think he will get a run of games at some point. But when you've got someone in front of you at Villa who's really, really strong at left back, he's finding it really hard to break through, and he was meant to come in and be that first choice left back. So his career's in a bit of like a bit of limbo now. Like, he's going to get a run of games hopefully at some point, but at the minute he's not first choice of Villa, and he thought he would be, and he can't get into the Netherlands team because of that, when the Netherlands national team is calling for a regular left back still. We've had it for so long with Dumfries at right back, competition from Frimpong. Now we want it left back, and yeah, at the moment that's not happening. But I agree with the centre-back decision.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, moving on to Hungary then. They play a 3-4-3, 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it. I mean, Van Gaal might call it what was it now? A 1-3-4-2-1? Something like that.
3-4-2, yeah.
And as usual, we're previewing the game Hungary against the Netherlands, but we are experts on the Netherlands, and we don't claim to be experts about Hungary. And I just think picking a few of these players here, rather than saying, who's going to win the game, I think we're probably all going to predict the Netherlands to win in a moment. We don't say that because we're getting cocky, but I think, look at the two teams on paper. There was some quality there in the Hungary team, but we will trust the Netherlands to do their jobs. Who are the players here, though, that you think will give the Netherlands a real big test? Who are these players that are going to get a good experience out of this? Because this is still a friendly, let's be honest. And Netherlands should be getting through the top two of this group. So thinking about it from a World Cup perspective, if you like, where are those big battles going to come? We've got Kerkez at left back, for example. He was former RZ player playing for Bournemouth now. Will that pace up and down that left side cause a bit of trouble for us down our right side? Are we going to stick? Are we going to twist? Are we going to stay back? We're going to go forward? That'll be something I wonder. Your thoughts on any other their players?
Well, to be honest, I don't know much about Hungary. With all respect to the country and to their national team, but I can judge by the result, losing to Germany 5-0 in one-side match. Actually, it was for Germany, and even the second match against Bosnia, I watched the highlights of the match. I did not see them producing anything in the match, really. So we should not really have any problem with them. We should win easily. Unless we have a bad day. But logically speaking, a match like this should not end by one goal win only. It should not end like 1-0 or 2-1. As I said, unless we have a bad day. So I don't think much of Hungary. It's not really a very good team nowadays.
I mean, the spark for Hungary is Szoboszlai, and you hope that the midfield battle is going to be Ravenberg versus Szoboszlai Liverpool battle. The thing about him is you can't let him shoot from range. Like he can score a goal from anywhere. So you need to shut that down. But if you take him away from the game, what do Hungary really have? They were at Euros, and did they really impress that much there? Not really. I think they're one of the ones that people went in being like, oh, they could maybe do something because of the group they were in, but didn't really happen. They've got some good players, Kerkez, Szoboszlai, but there's no real standouts in their form. Going into this game isn't great. So you'd expect if Netherlands played to their potential and what they showed in the last 2 games, then it should be a win. As long as they don't concede any sloppy goals. But I can't really see that happening, especially if it goes for a strong defence. If it was, say, Matthijs de Ligt starting, then I'd be a bit worried. But yeah, I think the fact that we're going to have a strong defence, strong midfield, that should win it for us.
Well, in that case, let's get on to our predictions. We've almost predicted that starting 11 as well. I don't expect a huge sweeping change, but midfield is interesting. Could that play a big part in the result here? I don't think we think it does. What scores are we going to go for?
Well, of course, if we compare the midfield we have now to the midfield we had only 2 months ago in Euro, our midfield now is a lot stronger. We have many good players despite the injuries, and of course, we have very good attackers after Memphis is gone. With all respect to him. But now I think we are a very stronger team than before. We saw that against Germany. We saw that against Bosnia. I just hope we fix the defense and don't make many mistakes in the back, because in the previous 2 matches we had so many gifts, to the attackers of the opponents. If we close these gaps and don't make any mistakes in the back, I do expect the match to end 5-0 to Holland. And one more thing, we really need to score many goals, because the group winner can actually be decided by the goal difference, because we could also draw with Germany in Germany. So then only the goal difference will be deciding. So I hope we don't just score 2-0 and decide to end the match like that. Or maybe Koeman will do that because he wants to save the energy for the match against Germany. But I do expect a big result, 4 or 5-0.
I would love to say that it's going to be 4 or 5-0, but yeah, I'm going to be a bit more cautious and say 2-0. I'd love Netherlands to go out there and absolutely steamroll them off the park. I think the pace that we have now, if Robbie's playing, is going to frighten them. I think that having Gravenberch in the form that he's in, probably one of the best midfielders in the world right now, on form. So it's exciting to see him blossom in that midfield. And then Virgil van Dijk is being one of the best defenders in the Premier League, so we should be too strong for this side. And yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 is probably my prediction.
Yeah.
I don't want to be boring and choose the same scoreline, but I've gone 2-0 Netherlands as well.
Oh.
I already decided on it. Yeah, again, I think it'd be great to score that many goals against them, but I've got a bit of a worry with our attacking thirds players. I don't think they've got that 5-0 score in them. Love them to prove me wrong, but I don't think we've got that many free-flowing goals in us. And because of that, I think I would take a 2-0 win. But I agree with you, Abdul. I think that the goal difference could be important. Let's see what happens against Germany. We haven't got past this game yet. But yeah, really high chance of that game being a draw, given how well Netherlands can play to get a result in Germany. And then goal difference comes down to that 5-0 win for Germany against Hungary already could be very important. And the Netherlands conceding 2 goals against Bosnia, that could be important already. But, if we win all of our games and draw twice with Germany, that's all right, isn't it? We'll take it, but it'd be nice to finish top.
Yeah, one thing I have to mention, teams like Hungary, when they are like 2-0 behind, the team collapses very quickly. And that's why, if we score 2 goals, even if we make substitutions, the defense will be widely open for Hungary, because I think from now they are fighting for the 3rd position, so they will not be relegated. Their only concern now is the match against Bosnia. They need to win this match to be 3rd, at least in the group. So as I said, if we end the first half 2-0, I think the second half we will score more goals.
All right. Well, let's see how those predictions go. I wonder if there's anything else Dutch football related you guys want to talk about today. I mean, there are so many other players we can still touch upon. Koeman's press conference, feel free.
I think that for me, the Koeman press conference was, you'll do his bigger one tomorrow, but I think it was pretty straightforward. I mean, Frankie de Jong's not ready yet. Memphis Depay's not fit. That's basically what he's saying. He didn't really say anything else that was that interesting for me. It was mainly, his comments on Neskins that everyone wanted to get, and stuff on Till and Sam Stein was pretty basic. So I think we'll get more from him when he does his pre-match one and probably going towards Germany. But other than that, he didn't really say anything out of the ordinary, too interesting at the moment. And yeah, it was pretty basic, I thought.
Yeah, his words about Neskins were really touching. Yeah, that's probably the highlight of his press conference. And as Mike said, as what Mike said, what he said about Memphis was pretty much logical. Finally, he's not really depending on Memphis again. And I don't see him coming back to Oranje. Maybe he will never come back because I can see that he's also not performing well with his team in Brazil. So I don't think Koeman is focusing on Memphis now. He just wants to find the perfect 3 attackers in the front line. That's what he will be focused on. Maybe he will start with the same 3, Simmons, Broby, and Gakpo. They work very well together. So, that will be the case, hopefully.
Talked about Memphis Depay, by the way. I don't know how many people listening to this have seen the clip of Memphis when he played one of his games in Brazil. It was awful, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was sad to see him performing like this, really. He's still a Dutch player. He performed so many games for Oranje, scored many goals. I really did not like to see him performing like this.
Yeah, I think you have to say as well that everyone can have a bad day. Like, he was coming back. It's one of his first matches he's played in months. He started to get to full fitness. He did start at the weekend. He did assist. But this is the Brazilian league. He's not playing Premier League football. As much as people are saying that the Brazilian league is strong, if you're a good goal scorer, you should be, causing havoc over there. And yeah, he doesn't really fit. And there's even news today that the sponsors that pay his wages have pulled out of Corinthians. So there's actually reports today that he might even have his contract ripped up already if they can't afford to keep him. So yeah, it's not a good start to life in Brazil for him. And unless he actually starts to show some form, he's not going to get picked. But I think that if he gets his contract ripped up, he'll come back to the Netherlands. And if he comes back to the Netherlands and plays for one of the top 3, he'll score goals and he'll automatically get back into the Netherlands side because he's playing for one of the top 3. It's just what happens.
I do think he's lost his starting spot, though. I don't think he's now that first choice striker any longer, despite the fact Broby and Zirkzee aren't scoring goals, really. Yeah, unless he absolutely tears it up somewhere, I don't think he's easily back in that starting 11.
Well, Memphis started declining slowly right after he left Lyon, actually, because all the clubs he played for after that, things just did not work out for him. Sometimes he was not lucky. He got injured in many occasions. I was hoping he would continue with Lyon. Maybe then he will come back to PSV, his base, his former club. But he chose a different path, and I think that affected him big time with Atletico Madrid, and of course now in Brazil. And I agree with you. Memphis is not even a second option now in the front line. Really, we have many attackers better than
him. Also, with players coming back to the Netherlands, Memphis he kind of turned down PSV this summer. I might be wrong saying that, whether that was a rumor, but Memphis did talk about PSV and said that it's not his time to go back yet to the Netherlands, and he will one day go back to PSV. And right now, PSV wouldn't take him, would they? Like, there are so many players better than him on the wings and as a striker. Then you've got Weghorst could have gone back to Twente this summer and been their number 1 striker. Instead, he went to Ajax and isn't first choice there. We could have seen other players come back to Ajax too. We could have seen Christian Eriksen, for example, who I know isn't Dutch, but still could have happened. yeah, so many moves could have happened and they didn't. But these players turning to these top Dutch clubs, especially if they're Dutch, it's a nice chance for them to prove himself there and get called back up to the national team.
To be honest, even Lammers, I see him better than Memphis nowadays.
He's been okay, actually, isn't he, Sam Lammers? I wonder if there's still a future for him. Like, I didn't think I'd be saying this a year ago. Yeah, but here we are. He actually looks pretty decent for Twente.
Yeah, I think there's other strikers that are out there that could come good as well. You got Omega at Strasbourg, who's playing week in, week out in League One. The other one that's disappointing at the moment, he's sort of dropped off the radar, is Dalinga. His move to Italy is not going well. He's not scoring goals for Bologna, so he's one that could drop off the radar pretty quickly if he doesn't pick up his form. Noah Ahayo is probably the second choice for Netherlands under 21s, but he's not exactly scoring for Utrecht. So, yeah, you're looking at outside of Brobbey and Xerxes, the striker pool isn't there yet. So if, say, Memphis did come back and say, he is from Rotterdam, say if he did go to someone like Feyenoord, he would probably start for them because I think he would challenge Ueda, who isn't great, and Jimenez could leave. Yeah. So I think he's going to go to anyone in Netherlands, it'll be Feyenoord, and I think he could actually do a job for them. And if he started scoring goals for them, Koeman likes him, so he'd be straight back in, I think.
Yeah.
If he just planted some seeds there, that would be fascinating to see. All right, we'll call it there. Thanks to everyone for listening, watching this. If you're watching it on YouTube, give it a like, give us a comment, what you're thinking of the team, anything you want, really. And of course, stick around for the live stream that will be after the game against Hungary on Friday. We'll be live pretty much as soon as the game is finished. Head over to YouTube to come and watch that with us. Come and comment along with us. Yeah, it's great to be back with international stuff. We hope you're enjoying it too. So just let us know that you are. We'll have a chat after this as well, I think, guys, about what podcast we'll have coming up. But it's good to get the content coming in. Thanks everyone for listening and enjoying this. Like I said, leave us your thoughts down below. See you again soon.